Let's begin with selection, filtering, opening up a project. I'm going to fire up ArcGIS Pro on my local device. You can run this in a virtual environment, Citrix, VMware, Amazon Web Services, etc. I'm going to note that, look, it's telling me you've got a download of a new version of ArcGIS Pro available. Also note in the upper right here that I am signed into my ArcGIS Online account. That is what gives Pro part of its power. You can run it in a disconnected mode, but you can also run it in a connected environment with your ArcGIS Online login. I'm going to create a new project here, and I'm going to give it a name and note where it is on my own device. Note that I've got a map pane. I've got some project settings to the left of the interface here, and notice, like I said in the introductory part of this video, I've got contextual menus. So if I go to analysis, I just get the analysis tools. If I go to view, I just get the view tools, etc. So very nice not to have every single tool in your face at the same time. And you can also customize these ribbons as well, which I'm not doing because I want you to see what a typical user would see when they open this up. Look, notice the sharing. I can share maps, projects, tiles, etc. So okay, I've got a map. I've got some layers on the left side. I've got a base map there. Look, I can add data. I can add it from my own device. I can add it from my own content zone in ArcGIS Online. I can add it from the Living Atlas. I can add it from other people's content that they've shared from ArcGIS Online. So be organized about your content. Now more than ever, it matters. Name things appropriately and know where they're located. I'm going to search in ArcGIS Online, and I'm going to see that, oh, I've got lots of data available at my fingertips from myself and from others in the community. Also, the Living Atlas of the World, which is a subset of ArcGIS Online with authoritative content. Raster and vector data from organizations, government agencies, nonprofits. I'm going to go search for tornado tracks because that's what I'm going to use. It's from the federal user community. So time permitting, you would have more time than we have in our video, but investigate who the federal user community is and if you trust their data. Where are they? Who are they? What data do they have hosted? How often is it updated? What scale was it created at, etc. So, okay, we have added our tornado tracks, and we're going to use that for our example here. I'm now inside ArcGIS Pro, and I've got my tornado tracks streamed in from ArcGIS Online from the federal community. Notice that I can go to any of these, and instead of magnitude, I can say I want to map injuries, I can map fatalities, the width, the time of day, the month of the year, etc. I can map all of those things that I did in ArcMap, but now I've got a better, I think, more intuitive interface. So for example, if I pick graduated colors on the tornado, maybe Fujita scale, intensity, or year, or any of these things, injuries, I'm going to get the symbolized tracks with whatever color ramp I want, or use my own customized symbols. I can do that too. Here's the classification method. I can map it on quantile, so I get the same number of observations in every category. I can get some statistics from the tornado data. This particular data set is from 1950 to 2022 at the time of this video. 72 years of tornado data inside here. Wonderful to have these data sets at your fingertips. This is pretty grim, though. These are real lives and people affected, so it's a grim data set for sure, but it's an important one as we think about all the things that GIS can do in our world, one of which is build natural hazards, resilience, and sustainability and awareness. So we can take a look at the attribute table as I've done here. So you right-click on a layer, you open the attribute table and see what you've got at your fingertips that you can do analysis from. And of course, if you don't like those fields, you can combine fields, you can create your own variables, you can add fields, you can join fields from other tables with joining. Up in the upper center of this interface, I can see select by attributes, just like you probably would expect in any GIS, but very powerfully and easily done here. I'm going to select year is equal to, I've got all these years at my fingertips, 2011. Applying that, now I only see 1,691 of the 68,000 total tornado tracks in the data set. Okay, so I can get a table of just that. I can also export that selection into a different table, but show selected records. So if I just show that, now I see only the 2011 tornadoes of which there were quite a few, especially in south central Oklahoma. That was a grim year for those big, wide tornadoes in south central Oklahoma. I'm going to go ahead and clear my selection, so now I have all 68,000 tornadoes. So that's a little bit of a select by attribute. Of course, we can also select by location. So if we did that, we want to see, what kind of thing could we, polygon thing or feature could we use for the selection by location? Well, gosh, what about state and county boundaries? That would be good. What if we get states from that nested data set, and now we've got state boundaries coming in, and now I could use that for my sort of cookie cutter, if you know what I mean. I can select now based on a polygon, or I could actually select Oklahoma just by drawing a boundary, a box inside there, a little polygon inside there. I've got Oklahoma selected now. I'm just verifying that that's what I've got selected. And now I can do a select by location. So I can say, oh, well, my input features are, I'm going to select tornadoes that intersect states. And I only have, notice that it even tells me, which is very handy, that I only have Oklahoma selected from that selected set. Okay, now what are we going to get from that? Think about what you're going to receive from your analysis. And in my case, I'm going to get all the tornadoes in Oklahoma selected because I've used Oklahoma state boundary as a selection, a polygon, sort of a cookie cutter, and I'm cutting out all of the tornadoes in Oklahoma. I've got, as you can see here in the attribute table, a certain number of tornadoes that are just inside Oklahoma. Okay, 3,500 and some odd tornadoes that are inside Oklahoma. How does that compare to other states? Make layer from selected features. We could do that. We can make a layer from, and now we only have the tornadoes in a separate layer. Remember, the data is still in ArcGIS Online. It's still from that original data set, but I could make a layer, export it to my own desktop computer if I wanted to do that. Right now I'm working with this data that's actually inside ArcGIS Online. Okay, so now notice that in ArcGIS Pro we also have the ability, which I think is very helpful, to be able to open up multiple tables inside the interface. Obviously, the more monitors you have, up to a certain point, right, the better. But I'm used to using one monitor here, and I'm going to show you everything in that one monitor view. So now, new selection, select by attributes, where the year is greater than a certain year, I could say, and the, what am I going to use? The magnitude is greater than, and here's my range of values. Year is over 2010, and the magnitude is greater than 3, the Fujita scale. So I've got the ability to do multiple queries with multiple select by attributes and select by location. I can also create reports. As I'm panning over here, I can zoom to selection. I can make the layer only the tornado layer selectable, so that when I click on these tornadoes, I'm not going to get the Oklahoma state boundary. I'm only going to see the tornadoes that I'm interested in. Now I can zoom to those tracks that I've got selected. Again, newer tornadoes, but only above 3 was my criteria. So I'm going to go ahead and zoom to those. And notice that I've done this Oklahoma intersect into Oklahoma. So I see those ones that started in Texas that ended in Oklahoma as also appearing, because it was anything that was either wholly inside Oklahoma or partly inside Oklahoma. So that would be something that you could adjust. You could make the tornadoes the only selectable layer right now, is what I'm doing right now. And I just see the pop-up for the EF4, that one, 61 injuries. Yikes. I remember that one. 9 fatalities in this one, 181 injuries. Ooh. Now, this is grim stuff, but it's important when you look at this inside space and time, inside of a geographic information system, in this case, ArcGIS Pro. Okay, we also have one down there. I didn't notice that before, but yes. Okay, lots of them south of Oklahoma City, and there's one big one north of Oklahoma City as well. We can change the symbology, of course, and change it to something like maybe a different kind of symbol that we can pick out more clearly on this. Notice you've got a lot of symbols at your fingertips, point, line, and polygon, raster symbols as well, and you can also import your own 2D and 3D symbols at your fingertips. Okay, and you can also customize these. So, okay, let's go with the range, minimum and maximum. Let's change the range a little bit so we can see that larger magnitude, and now I'm changing it to injuries. So now I'm mapping injuries, and I can see that one to the northwest of Oklahoma City being the one that's the most injurious. According to this data set, that's a key phrase. According to this data set, that was the most injurious tornado of the ones that we have selected at this point. So we've got a couple of different layers that we've derived from selecting by attribute and selecting by location in our table of contents on the left side of the map. The map is our main canvas for working, but notice we've got pop-ups, we've got layers on the left side, we've got the table, we also have the symbology right now on the right side. So there's no right or wrong with how these things are laid out, but this is typically what people do inside ArcGIS Pro. They have a couple of different panes, P-A-N-E-S, not P-A-I-N-S. Sometimes GIS can be a bit painful. I'm changing the base map right now, but this is P-A-N-E-S. Dockable, all these things are dockable. If you don't like the layout, you can change it. Now I'm looking at the imagery and I'm taking a closer look at some of these tornadoes that I have in my selected set. I only have 9 in my selected set right now. Remember, I'm selecting by year and also on the injuries. Okay, I can also make this a 3D scene if I want to. So right here I'm creating a 3D scene, and I also have the map tab and a 3D scene tab, so I can actually look at these side by side. I can also do a swipe or a docking of the side-by-side. So only do this if it adds value. Don't make 3D scenes or any sort of web map or any sort of GIS analysis if it doesn't add value. I'm all about adding value.